Welcome, everyone. This is Pilot Mules, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here on LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Terry Adwin.
Hi.
Hernandez.
Hey, everybody.
Sanzwinda.
Hello.
And Black.
Hey, guys.
And we are all back this week, assuming our computers and voices cooperate. So let's head into our news for this week for the games, and they released update 22.1.1. Which, as you can tell from all the dots, it wasn't much of an update.
No, it really kind of wasn't.
Looks like an 11Z's update.
Yes, they wanted to make sure that it was spelled properly in German, I guess.
That's like a post-it note of an update.
Yeah, it kind of really is. Although fixing an issue which could cause server instability seems kind of more than mildly important.
That's probably why there was an update in the first place.
That's probably the major reason for the update, yes.
Yes. Well, I presume that a location not being accessible was something to look into also, but that's 22.1.1. Not much in there, though. They will soon be getting around to having an update. Testing is scheduled to be starting in a few weeks for 22.2, which is going to be our next significant update.
Woo-woo.
We'll see what comes on at that time. I think they're going to sound like they might be starting the start of the class changes, but we will see, because I think the bulk of it's supposed to be coming in 23. So let's then head into the beacon. And we have some doors parting on the front cover.
As you do. For those who don't recognize the locale, that is the tavern at Thorin's Hall. I think. It could be Erebor, but I'm pretty sure that's the Thorin's Hall Tavern. I recognize the barkeep. Also, the surly guys in the back corner. Those are the L Association guys.
Well, the barkeep, yes, you probably recognize him from the number of times you have to bring him something during the anniversary.
No, I don't have to talk. Well, ish. We won't talk about anniversary questing. I recognize. Well, this obviously isn't an anniversary photo anyway. Because those surly guys are in the back corner, and the Ale Association and N-League are not up during the anniversary event.
Then let's head into this community spotlight. And Hadzar is a Russian streamer in the LOTRO community, and he would like to invite Russian players to watch his streams where he sometimes raffles off prizes. And we do have a link in the beacon in order to lead you there. Then on
yesterday.
Yes. I try to see. Is there anything here that isn't yesterday? Yes.
Yesterday and today.
Yes. Ever wondered what goes into creating musical events in the game? There is a link where you can read about the Brandy Badgers, who as they work and developing their musicals.
Well, those are like pretty big events. It's not just a concert. They actually do like different videos, music videos and stuff. And they put on like musicals and stuff too.
And then we have the Kin Hall, where the Legion of the Yankee Wench is a Gladden kinship. They are a friendly adult kinship with many levels of players and skill sets. In-game raiders and non-raiders are welcome. Members receive help with questing, crafting, and gear. They run both landscape and PvP, utilize Discord, and are involved in multi-kin activities. If interested, you could apply there or contact Sari in game, and the play here, of course, is within the beacon, the link that's in the beacon, and that is on the Gladden server. And our weekly comment. What is your favorite anniversary award?
Anything that's not bound on Acquire. Please stop making festival rewards bind on Acquire. Please.
Hey, the Toast Emote and the Warsteed cosmetics are no longer bind on Acquire. I mean, they're bound to account.
They're bound to account.
But
you
can still pass them to alts now instead of having to delete them, which is super
you used to
awesome.
Not be able to, which was really annoying.
All hail the toast emote.
Yes.
A toast to the toast emote?
That's a rare drop too, because I have 3 characters with it, and all the times I've tried for it.
Yeah, I guess I talked it up because last week I said I got it 3 times. Haven't had it since.
It took me 3 years to get it on my burglar.
Well, then I remember the Standing Stone, that was a anniversary reward, wasn't it?
Yeah, last year.
Yeah. That's for completing the
scavenger hunt. Is that still a thing?
Well, what
or can you no longer? I mean, can you no longer get it, or if you do the first 10 years?
I would assume if you complete the 10-year deed, you get it. I guess we're just going to have to.
I'll let you know next week because I'm currently on 7. So.
Oh yeah. Now I should note that they have announced that when they have the encore, there will be an encore to the anniversary event. It's going to be after. I get the impression it's going to be after 22.2, and one of the things that's going to be included in it is a level 50 friendly version of the scavenger hunt.
Ooh.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess they heard quite a number of complaints about.
Gumsking in the chat says, yes, you can still get it.
Nice.
All right. Thank you, Gumps.
I almost didn't last year. We did it, the last 2 or 3 days of that it was available that Sans and Maven were like, we've got to get you to get this. I almost didn't. I came really close to actually missing out on it last year.
In Russia, prizes raffle you.
I thought that was great.
Yes.
And yes. Oh, that's right. I was thinking of some other events that are coming. Was it the Fall Festival where they're talking about having, or the Summer Festival where they're talking about having a special instance?
Oh, is that the thing where they were going to pull from the Rift boss? Is that?
Yeah, yes, that. Is that 22.2 or is that?
I think they said summer on the stream, but I'm not positive.
Okay, we'll have to wait for more information on that then.
I don't remember hearing anything about that, but I also missed the stream, so.
Then let's head into the fan site news, where Andain continues his trek through Mordor with part 46. Shelob arrives. And Leonardis continues with her adventures in Mirkwood and starts some anniversary quests as well, where she is questing on Larland. And you could join Don't Fight Ducks on their adventures, where they're having a cup of tea in Moria. And Squirmus finally gets to Rohan, and that's on part 54 of the series Squirmus Fails in Lotro. And our screenshot of the week is Seowen, who is making a very nice shot of Lothlorien. I guess she's standing on top of a flat.
not only is she standing up on top of the flet, I have a feeling she's standing very close to the edge of one of those flets.
Yes, it looks like.
Like perilously close, like one step in the wrong direction and you're dead.
Yeah.
Her elbow's like a little skinned. I think she fell before this.
Well, it's hazardous getting up those things.
Oh, yes, I am familiar with that. Especially a couple of them where the flet seems to give you about 3 inches of clearance when the ramp has 3 inches of clearance as it's going around the tree.
Oh, yeah.
I know,
Really?
and you're supposed to try and navigate the turn and stay on the path and not like get too far away from the tree, but you've got to go around the tree.
Yeah.
It's fun for those of us who are movement challenged. Lothlorien may be one of my less favorite places in Middle-earth to go.
Ooh.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's a challenge to navigate, and B, it's full of elves, so...
I was about to say.
Certainly not one of your favorite combinations.
I mean, remember, I was on my, 4th alt before I finally quested there, because I got to singing to trees, and I was, nope.
Mm-hmm. I could just imagine that one of Terry's characters would be a dwarf who will be coming in with an axe to see how many.
Axley is due, actually, and he wields a pair of axes.
Wow, Terry, you said actually, as in actually?
No, Axley. His name is Axley. A-X-L-I.
I know, but I thought you said actually as well. No,
he wields... My bad. I may have said actually. I don't remember. I don't pay attention to the words that come out of my mouth. It's late. It's been a long day.
Yeah. Then let's head into our store sales. Terry, what is on sale this week, and is it anything that we could store away?
Well, I was wrong because I said that this week was going to be a crappy sale week because we had 2 good ones in a row. But apparently the LOTRO devs decided to listen to Black's plea for more storage because, so our free sample of the week isn't that great. It's a universal ingredient pack times 1 with coupon codes free pack now through May 3rd. But the sale, come on guys, it's 25% off vault storage and shared storage, inventory slots, which I need more of actually, and the currency cap. Because I'm still running out of space in my bags.
Yes, but
I totally tore this up. So.
120 bag slots, and I still can't keep them free.
Right now, though, they haven't increased inventory slots anytime recently, right?
No. But I'm not at the limit yet.
Oh, you're not at the limit yet. Okay.
What is the limit?
I don't recall what the limit is, but it'll still let me buy more storage, so clearly I'm not there.
Let's head into our site news, and this is another poetry week.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's right. And our first poem this week is by Ali. His LOTRO poems number 20, though. This is Estelle part 11 that he's seen this week. And of course, he has his usual plug for the casual raiders and saying that they had recently completed a tier 2 challenge of the Abyss of Mordath for boss 1 and 2. And therefore, let's have it part 11 of Estelle. We found a palantir of old. Pippin's curiosity overcame. He held it in his hands and witnessed the white tree aflame. Then he got caught by Sauron, and he beheld the Dark Lord, who fortune told him for information, hurt him with his sword. But the hobbit was pure of heart and bold. By chance he saw the enemy's plan unfold. A fire burnt in my heart. I must go to Minas Tirith to defend the White City, I said, but Gandalf had another plan. I must tread the pathless paths of the dead. With my companions on my side, I called the Oathbreakers, showed them the sword that was broken. The Forsakers, promised them their freedom, the release of their bond. We went to Peligir to fight the Corsairs in Keys of Howrond. We took their ships to head to the burning city. We slew the orcs and Easterlings without pity. So came Aragorn, son of Arathorn, heir of Isildur of Elendil the Tall, with blood of Númenor in his veins and the glory of the men before the fall. South rode Eomer with the Rohirrim, east rode Imrahil with the knights of Dol Amroth. There came Legolas and Gimli and Elladan and Elrohir and the Dunedain of the north. We fought hard, and all the enemies were slain. It was time for me to heal our hurts and pain. And just so you know, his casual rare skin is on Brandywine. It'd be good if I remember to mention the server in question.
Just a little bit.
A little bit, it helps. Then let's head to the next episode of Poems of the Pine, where we are still doing the Black Book of Mordor. Here we have Chapter 1, Part 3, Unintentions. Into Durthang we delve, now a dungeon most foul, where orcs and Udruk scream orders to kill. We clear the guards gathered at the cells, then release the pitiful prisoners within. Most were from Nirn, which nourished the realm, but one was Eorzin from the eastern lands. That wily warrior had wounded our friends, so we searched for him after he snuck away. We traced our mark to a treasure vault whose relics in gold weren't guarded well. Eorzin stole a stained relic, then slipped away into the searing land. He fled the fortress at a furious pace, carrying a precious prize. What did he steal? Where did he go? Can we find this wily warrior? Now then that we've had our little hobby of poetry, let's go into our question of the week. Arandis?
Yes, the question this week is about hobbies. Surprise, surprise. How do you start hobbies? I've seen people talk about fishing and various other ones, but how do you pick one? How do you start it?
Well, actually, there is no various other ones. Fishing is a hobby in the game.
Awkward.
And you start it by going to a fishing master, which are found kind of throughout all over the place. Generally, any location where there's fishing quests, you'll be able to find a fishing master to teach you how to fish.
Yeah, I was going to say, generally people wait till about 75 or so, get a fishing quest, and then they're like, how do I
Unless
fish?
you're doing the summer festival, because then you have to fish, and you're not just fishing for fish. You have to fish up strange things out of the lake.
Yeah.
And there's a hobby master right there, too, by that lake.
There's a hobby master? Yeah.
Bywater.
You tend to find some near the starting areas, though I sometimes not exactly where the starting area is, but a little bit off of it. There's just one for the dwarves is near, I think, the second hub you visit for some reason.
Go figure. Yeah, it's off the bridge by Nogland.
Probably because that's the first place where you maybe have good fishable water, though.
I don't know. You can fish in Thorin's Hall just fine.
Oh, that's right. Because in Thorin's Hall, that's
you
right.
have to for the summer festival.
Yeah, of course. You could fish in Do they have a hobby master in Thorns Hall?
I don't recall off the top of my head because usually I've got a pole by the time I get there.
Yeah, you got a point there. So it's possible they added one there when they added that quest.
And speaking of poles, there are different poles that increase your fishing proficiency.
They don't really do anything.
They probably don't, and I wasted river and lake tokens for the best one recently too, like a dummy. So
the poll is a lie.
I say that mostly because when I was watching Twitch all the time, there was a streamer that I followed who every time he streamed, in his chat would be somebody who had run like the fishing quest a bazillion times and had all kinds of like statistics and diagnostics on how the poles interact with the fishing skill, and it was just insanely detailed, and it made my jaw drop going, you spend way too much time fishing, dude.
But that was mainly related to the fishing quest and not to regular fishing?
Both, actually.
Oh, okay, both. All right. Just want to make sure that both sides were covered in there to make sure it was thorough.
Yeah. I mean, your fishing skill may be good for some things. Your fishing skill does not apply at all to Summer Festival fishing quests. Those are completely RNG based.
Yeah. And that's because I think people would have complained too much of low-level fishers. We didn't have a chance
to complain anyway.
Well, yes. Okay.
It is what the player base does. We feel we are entitled to complain.
All right. You have a point there. Anything else anyone wants to add on starting out in fishing?
Don't do it.
What's your fishing skill at now?
Oh, it's only like 105 right now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it could.
I didn't fish that much this week.
Yeah, it could turn into a bit of a time sink if you really want to. Now, I have heard there are a few people who actually managed to get Lord of the Streams, which is what you get if you reach the maximum level in fishing.
I did not know that. Don't tell me these things.
Nowhere near as cool as Skirmisher of Middle-earth, so.
Yeah, and besides, getting your fishing up to level 300 is rather tough, seeing how the higher your level is, the longer it takes to level.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to take a lot of fishing in order to get it all the way up there.
You think the grind for that Felagoth rep is painful?
Ooh, I'm ally now. Straight tasks.
Oh, it's straight tasks is how you get the Felagoth?
No, that's how I got it. I didn't do any questing in Felagoth.
Well, I don't know what you have to do in order to get. Well, maybe from the dailies once you finish up the area, but I haven't been going around doing dailies, so I wouldn't know that. Let's head into our week in Lotro. And Arendis, did you do anything?
Not this week, no. School is getting kind of crazy, so not this week, but we'll see next week.
Yes.
Terry Adwin, what about you?
Well, I got through Gollum's List with the help of Maven and Sans. That was really fun Wednesday night. Glorgerail had already done the list, so she knew where we were going. We took them in order, which was a lot of fun. And about 30 seconds into Goblin Town, my bags were full.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, the limit is actually 135 because I just hit it for inventory slots.
Yeah.
I discovered I had enough LOTRO points to buy the other 3 bags that I need. Other 3, 15 slots that I needed. Which if you have separate individual bags equals way too many. Don't do that. Made it to Lake Town. Terry Adwin is way more concerned about the sanitation of the water in Lake Town than the mystery of the storyline, to be perfectly honest. On the one hand, it's kind of funny that there's these piers with the outhouses on them. I mean, yes, haha. But then if you start to think about it, which I don't recommend, but of course that I start to think about these things, like nobody should swim in that water, and I definitely hope they're not drinking that water. And then, of course, as we're coming into town and we get to like the bridge leading into town, there's a player swimming alongside the bridge heading out of town. I'm like, buddy, you need to get out of that water. That's just gross.
Yeah,
you should see the fish coming out of it.
Well,
I don't want to see the fish coming out of it. On the other hand, go ahead, Pine.
I was just wondering when we have to do the quest to cure the cholera outbreak.
Maybe that's one of the dailies. On the plus side, despite the fact that it's got to be really disgusting to have all of these outhouses emptying into the lake town itself apparently smells like apples, because I passed no less than 5 NPCs talking about the apple barrels on the pier. So at least it doesn't smell like an outhouse. And I dusted off my former challenge mini. I say former challenge mini because now she's gotten LI, so technically she's not a challenge mini anymore. But I trailed after Pineclaw to be way more OP than the Furball, only because she was like 5 levels higher. So, Black, what were you up to this week?
I had a light week due to work and, of course, the movie nights, but I still managed to throw my cares to the lag, and I lagged out jumping from the prow at Minas Tirith. Kind of just like stopped in midair and just hung there, and I was like wondering what was going on, and suddenly it said I died, and I did it with another character right after this, and they actually went all the way down and died. So I was like, okay, I lagged out. So that was interesting. I also have a character that didn't do the anniversary last year, so I started that. And last year, I guess it was a little easier because we had like week to week because they were releasing it like that.
Right.
So you only had to do like one per week if you wanted to, and kept up with it. But I'm trying to squeeze it all in before they stop. So I did weeks 1 through 7, or years 1 through 7, I should say. And yes, I feel pretty numb to everything now. And I did fish a little bit in Rivendell. I was completely shocked. I just couldn't believe this. I caught very little fish and a bunch of old boots. So I guess boots are coming down from the dwarves and Misty Mountains or something. That seemed to be all I was catching. But anyway, Sanswinda, how was your week?
My week was pretty good. Albeit very quiet because I lost my voice. I participated in a totally authorized, but ultimately unsuccessful, cheese hunt with the girls of Middle-earth. Maybe being authorized was a problem? I'm not sure.
That's some sinister cheese there.
It was sinister cheese, yeah.
It did not want to be found cheese is what it was.
Yeah, lost. Very carefully hidden away.
I would happily give up mine, but that's another bound to character item.
Besides which, we have a cheese pact, so you'll need yours. And then finished a year 11 scavenger hunt card with Terry and Maven. And, ran out of inventory space too. But I have the max inventory slots, so I guess I'll have to invest in other storage. But I got rid of most of the stuff that we picked up in, the Goblin Town, so that helps. And I gained friend standing with the Galadhrim during the field trip, after doing a lot of quests, and repeating a lot of quests, and carrying arrows, and stepping in a deep part of the ford, because I'm a little hobbit, that was too deep, and I had to go get arrows again. And Worsted recklessly right off the cliff and took an unexpected swim in the lake, trying to type while riding a Worsted. You know. It was amusing, except for the fact that I couldn't talk. So, that was my week. Apparently, if I was your week.
as you talked about the field trip, I was also, of course, with you doing that, except I was not jumping off cliffs or anything like that. But I did get to the point where I got to friend with the elves of the sea, which means that they are now allowing me inside. I was able to then notice, oh, what do I need in order to get the port? Oh, that's what I need to do. So I went and did a few resource instances so I could get some gold leaves, and then I converted the gold leaves into branches, and then that was able to be enough branches in order to get me my port. So now I have a port into the Elven City. Why? I have the slightest idea, but I have it.
It'll come in handy later when you have to go there, but you can't actually exit the Hall of Celeborn.
And was that friend standing you had to get that? Sorry.
Well, yeah, but you need friends standing in order to get into the city. You need to get into the city in order to get the port.
Right. So I was just making sure that's all it took to get the port then.
Yeah. You only need friends standing plus those 20 silver branches. Though in my case, what I did is I just, as I said, I ran 4 resource instances, since for each one you run, you could get a leaf, and 1 leaf gives you 5 branches. Voila. Then, on my Langeville Bjorning, I traveled through Western Gondor with Terry Adwin. She told you how the Mini was outshining the Bjorning all the way through there. Of course, this is where the Bjornings don't get any rewards.
Also, I was 5 levels higher.
Well, that also helped in the matter that you were 5 levels higher on it. Then, and of course, in the middle of all that, I attended a very awkward family dinner.
Yeah.
So that was a little strange. And then on my Langeville Warden, I scavenged throughout Middle Earth. I managed to finish the Golem stuff, and I'm getting... Actually, no, I haven't finished the Golem stuff. It was the Ruin side that I've completed. I have a couple more things left from the Golem side, and I have a couple more things on the creatures that I have to find. But I did finish up on the ruins there. Now, on Crick Hollow, I did finish all 3 of them. Yay, that's done. So I now know where everything is. And I have posted videos with me finding all those locations. But on my Langeville Warden, I did that. And while doing this, I learned that it looks like I didn't go into the Misties all that much. When I started unlocking all these deeds, when I go into various parts of the Misty Mountains, and didn't have the bulk of the Stable Masters unlocked. Then like a 115 character is saying, oh, do I have my Misty's port? No, I don't have my Misty's port because I've never been there. Oops. Yes. So, of course, I did have to visit there in order to go to Goblin Town. And, of course, I hadn't been to Goblin Town either. I know that should be no shock considering what I just said there. And when I was in Moria, I realized that I never did the part where you're supposed to kill the Dark Warden, which is the 3rd part of the Warden quests. So therefore, that's not all that unusual because the Dark Warden is such a pain in order to get to. He is a notoriously bad one to get to, and even with those...
That's not the 3rd part, though. That's the 2nd part, because the 3rd part requires an instance.
No, the 4th part's the part that there are 3. There are 4 parts. The first 3 parts.
I can never remember.
Yeah, and the 4th part requires an instance, but the 3rd part is a real pain. It used to be even worse back when the trolls were elites, but even with them downgraded down to signatures, they're still a pain. But even worse than those trolls, though, of course, are the nameless in there because they have such a rapid spawn rate and they're such a pain to fight and all that. Now, of course, just walking through with a 115, no problem in there. But when I was on level...
You need some white light oils.
Well, the trouble is I do most of my fighting with spears, and light oils don't help spears, they only help javelins.
Oh, fine. But you can use either. Right?
What? No, the trouble is, though, is that if you're using javelins, they don't work very effectively up close when someone's in your face and hitting you. You get a penalty whenever you're using javelin, mainly javelin stuff. You use your javelin skills, but they have high cooldown rates. Mm-hmm. But if you are in assailant stance, which is where you're mainly using javelins, then whenever someone's in your face, you get penalties to hitting, assuming they haven't changed that at some point.
Fair enough.
Yeah, so therefore you're expected to switch into spears, into a spear using stance whenever someone's in your face.
I just was observing that light in general was pretty effective against those.
Yeah.
On a recent run through with a minstrel and with my hunters, so.
Yeah, they probably do it, and see, Balerion also probably would be, but Balerion's pretty tough to get around that level, though. Let's see, I think it's the Midnight Raid that gives a Balerion a Balerion title. But I think it's Midnight Raid that gives that. But I haven't done. I don't think I've ever done Midnight Raid at level, so therefore I don't know how challenging that is in order to complete.
Totally fair.
And that's one of those. In case you're not familiar with that, that's one of those 3-player instances where you need those gems, those gem slivers, in order to be able to do it, and you have to go to Ekadanel in order to do it. Same place where you get the Flight of Drakes.
I think I remember that being pretty tough on level.
Yeah, it's pretty tough on level, and since it's not it's not really a good one to solo anyway, even if you are a little bit above levels, that you have to get all those campfires and work on them that way. So unless you're really, really fast or really good at mowing down the enemies, you probably need a little bit of help in order to keeping up with it. Then, let's see. That is it for there. So therefore, we currently have 17 supporters on Patreon, and if you'd like to join us, illustrious rated players, and help support LOTRO players, you can go to the donations page where you can help support the Players Alliance on Patreon, and we would just love to have more patrons on there. If you will find their rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even you could be a guest for an episode of LOTRO Players News.
And who doesn't want that?
Right. Now, has anyone ever gotten a guest spot on LOTRO Players News that way?
Yes. At least once, maybe twice, and I don't remember who the guests were. I'd have to look them up.
Okay. So, yes, it has happened. But, of course, what's really nice is that you'll know that you are helping us in order to pay our bills and survive and be able to continue on. We did not receive any emails this week, but if you'd like to send us one, you can send it to podcast@LOTROplayers.com. You could also follow us on Twitter, the Players Alliance @PlayersAllied, LOTRO Players @LOTROPlayers, Arandis @Arandis, Black @Black Shrubbery, Pineleaf @Pineleaf Needles, Sanswinda @Sanswinda, and Terryadwin @Terryadwin. We currently have 4 shows. Every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. Every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. Every other Thursday at 9:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have XP Quest. And on the first Tuesday of each month at 9:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Chromatic Bits. You can join us for our shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. And that is all for tonight, and this is Pineleaf News reminding you to skirmish responsibly.